I put a camera on my own porch, and my mother-in-law stopped letting herself in. So my husband Dan and I bought our house about 2 years ago, and from basically day one his mom Carol acted like it was hers too. She lived maybe 10 minutes away, and Dan had given her a key for emergencies before we even finished unpacking. I didn't love it, but I figured, okay, she's his mom, I'll be the bigger person. The thing is, Carol's definition of emergency was, like, loose. She'd let herself in when we weren't home. I'd come back from work and the coffee maker would be warm, or there'd be a casserole in the fridge I didn't make. Once I found her actual reading glasses on my kitchen counter and she wasn't even there. I brought it up to Dan and he did this thing he always does. This sort of laugh where he's already deciding I'm overreacting. He goes, "That's just how she is. She's not hurting anything. She was in our bedroom, Dan. The laundry basket got moved. Maybe she folded it. That's a nice thing." I said, "I don't want her folding my underwear," and he acted like I'd said something insane. So for a while I just dealt with it. I'd text her before I left the house, so at least I knew. But she started ignoring the texts. I'd write "heading out, house is yours if you need anything" as a hint, and she'd show up the day I didn't send one. It was like she wanted to catch the house empty. Honestly, it started making my skin crawl. The breaking point was in October. I'd taken a sick day. I was upstairs asleep with a fever, and I heard the front door open. Footsteps. Cabinets. I came down in my pajamas and Carol was standing in my kitchen going through my pantry with a notepad. I said, "Carol, what are you doing?" And she didn't even flinch. She goes, "Oh, you're home. I'm just seeing what you're low on. Your spice rack is a disaster, sweetheart. You didn't know I was home? Well, it doesn't matter, does it? It's family. That it doesn't matter is what did it for me. Like my being there or not being there was just a detail." I told Dan that night I wanted the key back. He said Carol would be devastated, that it would start a war, that I was punishing her for caring. So I said fine. If we're not taking the key, I'm putting up a camera. A little doorbell one, the kind that talks. He shrugged like sure, whatever, thinking I'd never actually do it. I did it that weekend, mounted it myself while he was watching football, set up the app on my phone. And here's the part I didn't tell him. I turned on the setting where it announces out loud, "You are being recorded," the second someone steps on the porch. Tuesday I'm at work. My phone buzzes. Motion on the front porch. I open the app and there's Carol, key already out, and the camera goes, in that flat robot voice, "You are being recorded." She jumps like she's been shot, looks straight up into the lens. And I'm watching this live, I have the two-way audio, so I press the button and I go, "Hi Carol." Nothing. She just stares at the camera. I said, "Everything okay?" And she goes, real quiet, "I was just dropping something off. You can leave it on the mat, thanks so much." She stood there another second, put the key back in her purse, set down a little grocery bag, and walked to her car. Didn't use the key. First time in 2 years. She called Dan crying within the hour. He came home ready to have it out with me. "You humiliated my mother. She feels like a criminal in her own son's house." I said, "It's not her house, and she only feels like a criminal because the camera says out loud what she's actually doing. It's spying, Rachel. It's my porch. She's the one who has to be recorded doing something. If she knocked, the camera would just say hello." He didn't have anything for that. He just stood there kind of blinking. Then he goes, "Can you at least turn off the announcement part?" And that's when I knew. It was never about Carol being hurt. It was about her getting caught, and him having to see it on video every single time. I said no. The camera stays exactly how it is. If she wants to come over, she can text me first like a normal person, and I'll unlock the door from my phone. Same as I'd do for anyone. He said his mother shouldn't have to be treated like anyone. I said that's the whole problem. Carol hasn't set foot on the porch in 3 weeks. She mails the casseroles now. Dan picks them up from her place. He hasn't figured out yet that I can see him do it on the camera.